Here we go, and we are live. What is up, everyone? How are we doing today? Welcome to Mindset Monday. It is February 5th, 2024, coming at you. I'm here with my man, my co-host, the man with the master plan, Jonathan Fodera. What is up, my man? How are you?
What's happening, bud?
Not too much, brother. Well, guys, let's get started on this Mindset Monday. Going to switch it up a little bit. Let's talk, have a little dialogue here, and kind of get some Q&A and kind of the subjects that I want to talk about today. I want to talk about goals, but then reflecting, right? Kind of where you're heading, but where you came from, and in the middle of that, kind of tie it in with some visualize, right? You got to see all this stuff. So, Jonathan, one of the first things that I want to ask you is, and I don't think a lot of people, you talk about it, but you don't take it hand in hand. Those goals, right? People write this stuff down, or they have a vision board. Yeah, they'll look at it, and yeah, they'll maybe glance at it once in a while, but they don't really actually take the time to really put themselves in that situation, right? To really see where they want to be, to see that tangible thing in their hand. What's your experience with that, and how important is that to really kind of put yourself in that environment?
Well, I think it's extremely important, right? I think you need to be focused on your end goal, your end destination. Now, to say I have this all figured out, I definitely don't. Ed taught something at the last summit that I still haven't mastered, but I will say this. I would say in the last 3 years, I started using visualization a lot more, almost on a daily basis. And I like to do it. I like to do it at night. And I do it at night because I like that to be the last thing that I'm thinking about, right? So recently I've been visualizing for a while, for I would say the last 18 months, of me buying a really, really nice house that's on a lake and moving my entire company from the office that we're renting to a house that we own that's going to be built out just for our team. We're going to have a full gym, a sauna, steam room, like the whole works. Like it's going to be an amazing place to work. And so right now I am in the process of fulfilling that, right? And so I've already shifted to my next thing. So once this is done, and I know this will be done here in the next 2 or 3 months, my next thing is, all right, now I want to get so many investment properties and I want to get a farm. Well, if I know that's what I want, then the next thing is I go about visualizing it. I put it on the board. I make sure that I am setting my micro goals and my long-term goals that align with me getting these things that I am visualizing. And I think it's really, really important to understand that it's not visualization alone and it's not setting the goal alone. It's actually the action that you take to achieve those goals and eventually obtain that massive vision that you want. And then right when you're about to get it, guess what? The vision changes. The outlook changes. You have to move that goalpost further back. Why? Because you always want to be putting yourself in a better situation. You always want to be improving yourself. And you're not going to do that if you achieve your goals and you don't have anything past them set. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit that spot on there, man. I think it also, when you're talking about moving to the next one or seeing that, thoughts turn into feelings, feelings turn into action, very important to obviously move forward. The next thing I'll ask of you to top on that, I mean, how important is having faith and belief that it will happen? One of the best, before you answer that, one of the best comments I've heard recently on a podcast is that, God likes to hit a moving target, right? Got to be active. You got to be taking action, so what is your sense in that faith and that belief to go along with that?
That's a good question. So here's the reality. If I've always had a very, very deep belief in what I can put my mind to, I can achieve. It's something my parents drilled into me. What I would say now is when there are times of doubt, because nothing, any journey that you take, any big goal you set, or any massive movement that you want to create, there's always going to be setbacks and there's always going to be things that deter you. And you're not always going to have complete and total momentum. So in times that has happened, what I have done is, one, I remember what I've accomplished in the past. Okay. Not that I want to stick there or dwell on there, but it is very normal to have doubt creep into your mind. So first, I think about things I've accomplished previously, and then I try to look for easy wins, small, little, easy wins. Sometimes those wins can be actions, okay? And a lot of times, as you're going through the process, the more difficult the task or challenge that you set, sometimes all you're going to get is those little wins, those little, hey, I did, if you're writing a book, well, a win on that could be, hey, I sat down for an hour and I wrote. Now maybe out of that whole hour, you get 2 pages of that book done, but it was still 2 pages that you didn't have previously. So I try to make, when I'm trying to rebuild that momentum, I look for the easiest possible wins that I can tie into actions and just accomplishing things that get closer to the mission. And I try to keep stacking enough of those on, and then eventually you will build that momentum back.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's a good point. Small wins compounded over time, they equal those big wins. You said something interesting there about, reflecting back on some of these small wins and what it has gotten you there. And I want to flip this a little bit, reflecting on the past. Well, what about those times to also give yourself some grace? What's your take on looking back and say, when times get hard currently and it's like, oh shit, man, we got this next level, right? What's your take on looking back and be like, damn, I was either this messed up as a kid or never thought I would even make it to this far to where I am now. What's your take on thinking of those bad times, right, to propel you to the good?
Honestly, I don't think like that.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't. I am squarely focused on what I'm trying to achieve.
Awesome.
At all times, almost like it's some kind of crazy obsession. Okay. Now, are there things? Do I get into negative feedback loops? Absolutely. I get into 2 or 3 or 4 a fucking day. What I've noticed is my negative feedback loops, and I'll explain what I mean by negative feedback loop for those that don't understand that. But the negative feedback loops happen, and I try to do something quickly to exit that feedback loop. Maybe it could be crank out 50 push-ups or do something physical, right, to put me in a better state, and then attack and approach the work the same. And when I say negative feedback loop, what I mean is I'll notice one thing that's off, now I'll notice another thing that's off, and then I will keep looking for things that are wrong and build up like a negative energy cycle, if you will. Okay. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly. I'm sure there are other people that go through that, but that's more what I am prone to. I don't doubt myself. I just will look around and see all this shit going wrong. And when I know I'm doing that, I've become way more self-aware to pull myself out of that. Okay. And when I do that, I'm back on track, and I limit the amount of time I stay there, where in the past that could have ran for a day or 2 or 3. Okay. But in terms of, it's, again, go back to looking for the easy win, start building that momentum, break that negative loop, and move on to something positive.
Yeah. How important is that by going through those things, right, through that adversity, to not only give yourself grace, but also come out on the other side, whether you win that day or you lose that day, is gratitude. You still give yourself something along that journey.
Yeah. I think gratitude absolutely helps. I also think I'm not particularly great at it. Like, I pray in the morning, and I try to be as grateful as I can. I something I need to work on for sure.
Yeah, I think we all, I think the biggest thing, and it's pretty cool to hear you say that, and a lot of times people will let that ego kind of get in the way and not admit, like, hey, I need to get better at this, or hey, I'm not so good at this, but I'm working on it.
No, I'm deeply flawed.
Yeah.
I am fucked up when it comes to that.
but dude, I mean, how big of a problem do you see in there, that especially some quote unquote big influencer, man, that it's they just show this glorified good side of things, and
No, it's
ego
not.
busting in a way.
I think you're right, and I think most of the time, if we're being honest, it doesn't the I don't see that glorious side ever, right? Like someone could look at what I have and what I built and feel a certain way. I don't feel any type of glory out of any of that stuff yet because I feel like I'm just starting and I feel like there's so much more I have to do. And I don't ever stop and take, I very rarely, I don't want to say ever, but very rarely do I stop and take inventory of what I've done, what's, what I've been blessed with. And I should. Okay. That would probably help me a lot more than maybe some of the other actions I take.
Do you think if you do kind of reflect on that or those wins, that's going to slow you down?
It's just not where my mind goes.
Yeah.
It's not like that's literally never like my mind is so focused on what I visualize all the time and what I'm trying to accomplish. And I hate any type of distraction. That's another reason why I don't answer my phone during the day.
Yeah. Some that I've gotten better at, that do disturb button is.
Yeah. And most people don't know that, but I tell everyone, please text me first. The reason I say that is because I want to sit in and lock in on what I have to accomplish throughout the day. And I can't do that with constant interruptions. And once I stopped answering every phone call and got back to people, when I could, I was able to be way more productive. So that's a little hack. If you guys want to take something away from this is, be a text first guy. If people text you and you call them, that's fine. It will allow you to get through your work much, much quicker.
Yeah. Massive productivity, man. I like that. That's something I've picked up from you, by the way. And, I appreciate that because it's been a game changer. You don't have to answer fucking everything at that particular second. Like unless somebody's dying, it's not.
Well, here's my thing. If let's say you call me and you can't get me, okay? You text me, hey, I need 50,000. I need it by Wednesday. Okay, cool. I'm gonna call you as soon as I can. I got the message. It's the same thing, right? Or if people text me, all right, cool. Hey, I'm just wrapping up. I have a 9 to 9:30. I'll call you after that. We'll go from there. It's not like I'm not getting back to people, right? But it's shifting and allowing me to finish and complete my current task and then deal with it. Otherwise, you're always going to be scattered.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Organization. That's all I got, brother.
Yeah, this was a good one, dude. Thank you.
I like.
All right, guys. Let's share this with anyone that it would help. Okay. We'll see you guys on Financial Fitness Friday. Dave, great stuff.
Thank you. You too.
Catch you on Friday.
Be great, y'all.